What's up guys, it's Chris with Irene Iron Fitness, and today I'm going to share with you some of the items that I purchased that are longer lasting to help get you through those long durations between your grocery shopping. Stick around. It's been about a week since we've been grocery shopping. Actually, it's been exactly 1 week. So we're going into week 2, and I'm now busting into some of the produce and the meat items that I specifically bought that will last longer. So when I do my grocery shopping, there are items that I know that will only last a few days, up to a week, and then there are certain items that I know will last longer than a week, and that's what I'm getting into today to help get you more prepared for longer stretches between shopping trips, because we're all making an effort to stay at home, and that includes the grocery store, which isn't essential. However, you don't want to be going to the grocery store on a weekly basis if you can avoid it. So with Erin and I, we have made it 2 weeks, which was good. I'm trying to get that into 3 weeks, and I'm just mastering some tips myself that will get us closer to that 3-week mark, and a lot of it has to do with planning. So with vegetables are the hardest thing for us because we eat so many vegetables. Obviously, I'm going to skip past week 1 where you have your favorite items that go bad quicker. So items like spinach and greens, items like bell peppers, things like that are going to last a shorter time. So I spend my first week eating all of those yummy vegetables. And then in the second week, I plan for heartier vegetables. First and foremost, onions and garlic. These are your best friends. These will stick around on your shelf for multiple weeks, even upward of the months. Now, when you pick out any of your produce, it's always a rule that if it doesn't look good in the store, don't buy it because it's not going to last long at your house. I talk about this a lot. Always check dates if it's something that's in a bag like snap pea pods or green beans. If it's in a packaged bag, check the date. But things like this, I mean, check for bruises, make sure it's firm, make sure it looks good. You want them to be heavy for their weight, like garlic. If it feels light, that's a sign that it's not fresh. So definitely stock up on these. Potatoes. I have sweet potatoes that I purchased for further into our weeks. The sweet potatoes, I'm going to prepare multiple ways. I'm going to dice them up and fry some for Aaron in his stir fries. I make him a lot of stir fries, and that's how I like to cook his. For myself, I'm doing mine more of a baked style so that I can avoid frying in the oil. And I'm actually using a thermal cooker outside. I'm very new to thermal cooking, and so far I love it. I use it for rice, and I'm trying out my first batch of baked potatoes. They're sitting outside, and it's really great for right now. We're in Arizona. It's like 85 degrees. The sun is blasting. So anytime that I can have my cooking off, which includes the induction cooktop or my microwave, that's a huge plus for staying cool inside of this van, because the van is just like a car. It's like sitting in a car all day baking in the sun. So thermal cooker, experimenting with that. I'll let you know how they turn out. So that's my tip on potatoes. Get some, make sure they're nice and firm. Lots of varieties of potatoes. It really doesn't matter which kind you like, just get some to stick around later. Next up, get yourself a nice big head of cabbage. Heads of cabbage are a great deal. I just cut this one open. This has been in the fridge all week long. What I did when I bought it, I put some paper towel around it and I put it in a nice tight plastic bag. And the reason I do that is just to help with the condensation of the RV refrigerator. I use paper towels and plastic bags a lot to help extend the life of my vegetables, and it works wonders. My vegetables stay fresh so long with doing these tricks. So I always squeeze out the air and keep it protected from condensation and moisture. So I just cut up even less than half of that bag, and look how much shredded cabbage I got. This is going to provide that fresh crunch flavor of fresh vegetables that you're going to start to miss once you hit week 2 of no shopping. I'm going to sprinkle this everywhere I can, because this is going to be one of my crispy items that I won't be cooking. Nice and raw, nice and refreshing. You can mix it with some apple cider vinegar or some lime juice or whatever you have to get it nice and vibrant. And I'm going to keep this just the way it is, and then when I need more, I'll just cut more. When it's in this head, it's going to stay longer better, because as soon as you start cutting stuff, it starts to die a little bit. So this is going to stay good in the fridge for a while. And that brings up a great point about shredded cabbage that's pre-shredded, like your classic coleslaw mixes, which I happen to love. But in cases like this, where you really need to make the most of your fridge space and your lifespan, buy it whole and cut it up at home. Because this, you can't get any more compact than this. And when you're cramming a 3.1 cubic foot fridge, you really need to cram it in there. So this is saving space, and it's extending the life by a lot. Another tip for vegetables is try to pick out as many things that you can that will last on your counter and don't need space in your fridge. If you have a gigantic fridge, that's probably not important for you, because then you might buy things that spoil. But one of our struggles and one of our pain points is that our fridge is so small that I just can't fit enough vegetables in there. So I really need to focus on items that can sit on my countertop. So like bell peppers, tomatoes, zucchini squash I've put on my countertop with no problem, and avocados. I mean, let things simmer on the countertop, and then when you create some space in your fridge, you can transfer things in to help extend them to live longer, but you don't need them in the fridge right away. So that's another thing that I do, is utilize my counter space with produce, with items that I know don't need to be refrigerated. Some other vegetables that would be great to have around are things like zucchini squash or butternut squash, spaghetti squash. They can sit on your countertop for a while. I don't have any of those here, but I do plan on getting some on my next trip, and that's going to be something that will get us a little bit further. These Rubbermaid Brilliant Tupperware containers are what I use to keep my produce fresh in the refrigerator for as long as possible. I talk about these all the time. They literally changed my life when we got into RVing. So I like to put a clean, dry towel at the bottom. I put in my produce, and I put in a clean, dry towel at the top. These are the Rubbermaid Brilliance brand. I got them at Costco. They are available on Amazon, and I'll put a link below in case you need to pick up a set. They don't have to be this brand specifically, but what you want is something that's airtight. And you can hear, when you put the lid on this, you can hear the air push out, and that's what you want. Another tip for keeping your produce fresher for longer is don't put them into storage when they're wet. So I know a lot of people that promote food prepping say wash and trim your vegetables right away when you get home. That is a great tip if you're struggling to eat healthy and you're struggling to prep and put your meals together quickly. That is true. However, if you want your produce to last 1 week and beyond, you really don't want to be storing anything in the fridge with water already on it. So I recommend holding off, putting it into storage when it's dry, because the whole thing about these is we're trying to beat condensation and moisture. So put your vegetables into the fridge when they're dry, and then wash them when you're actually prepping it or putting a meal together. If you do want to prep it and wash it right away, just make sure you lay out some kitchen towels, some clean towels, and then let things air dry really, really well. So things like broccoli and green beans, put them on a towel, shake them up, let them get really nice and dry before you put them into storage containers. For fruit, we typically eat a lot of bananas. So those, of course, are your item where you have them and they're green, and then they're ripe for like 2 days and then they get spotted. Well, in those situations, I always freeze my bananas when they get to that point so that I can use them in other recipes or unique ways so that they don't waste. But another fruit that we love are apples. So apples are a great item that will last for multiple weeks and they'll stay fresh. Other fruits that are great to have are citrus fruits. That's something that I plan on buying on my next trip. Again, just to get us into that next week 2, week 3 without shopping. So I am adjusting our diet and adding in things that we normally don't buy, but it's really something that we should be doing anyway. The more variety of fruits and vegetables, the better. And I'm really trying to take this experience and benefit from it, get some nutrients in that we don't normally eat. It's so good for your body to switch up what you're eating and get more colors and get more fruits and veggies in. So I'm really actually excited about it, and I'm having fun with it. If you have freezer space, that's a great way to get frozen vegetables and frozen fruit in to pull you through those weeks as well. Our freezer is very small. It's like this. This is the width of our fridge, and then the height of our freezer is like this. And it has one of those flap doors, so it's really not that big. And I actually prefer to save that space for meat, because meat is so compact and it can really help stretch out your proteins, which I'm going to get into now. So when you are shopping for proteins, this is one of the items that people are hoarding. So the grocery stores are smart about it, and they put some limits on what you can buy. So they'll say 2 per person. So what I did when I went shopping last time is I got 2 packs of chicken, 2 packs of ground turkey, 2 packs of ground beef, things like that. And again, you get the variety, and it helps get you to that quantity that you need to get through multiple weeks. When you're shopping for your meat, you always want to check the expiration dates on the packages. If things expire in 2 to 4 days, you don't want to set yourself up for that, because then all of your food is going to go bad. So try to find some items that are going to have a further out expiration date. And when you get home, you want to make sure you work your meal plan to focus on your soonest expiring items. This is usually going to be your ground beef, your ground chicken, your ground items. And then you want to use your bigger cuts or things that are just obviously came in fresh and they have a date that's far out there. Plan to save that for later. If there is space in your freezer, pop some of that soon to expire meat into your freezer right away, and that way that's there for you when you have time to cycle it in. Some items that I love that have an expiration date that it's set out sooner are these big giant pork loins. Are great. I bought this, and the date on the package was literally 21 days out from the day that I purchased it. So this can sit in my fridge for 2.5 weeks before I need to cook it up. And that's something that, you know, you want to monitor it. Make sure that it's in a cold area of your fridge. Like if I put this on the bottom shelf, no way it would spoil. But know your refrigerator, know your temperatures, and keep it where you know it will stay safe. So this is something that will stick around a long time. And it's a great way to keep some long-lasting meat in your refrigerator without needing to freeze it. So big cuts, especially in these packages where it's like airtight, not open, this is going to last longer. So I definitely want to keep buying these pork tenderloins. They're super easy to put in an oven and just roast it. Since I don't have an oven, I actually just cut these into 1.5-inch medallions and pan fry them, and they're delicious. And then the same way that I prep my chicken, I prep my pork medallions so that they're all cooked, and then I just reinvent them into each meal as I'm preparing a meal. The price of the pork is $5.99. Pork has always been something that's a little bit more budget friendly, and it's nice to mix in different levels of spending if you're trying to watch your budget to get some things to bring your spending down. So pork loin, check them out. Next up, I have a flat iron steak. This one was marked 2 weeks from the day that I bought it to be good. So not only have flat iron steaks been a good staple for me in this time of preservation, but flank steaks, they're very similar, and they're both somewhat lean. They are a little bit more, you know, compared to a ground beef. So this is $8.99 a pound. Ground beef, depending on the quality that you get, can range from $4 a pound to $8 a pound. So it's a little bit more, but when you're in week 2 or week 3 without grocery shopping, you're going to be so glad that you spent a little money to get these cuts that are still going to hang around. Eggs are another protein item that are limited in your quantities when you're purchasing. You can only get 2 packages of eggs at a time at the grocery stores that I've been to, and this is a dozen. So I'm used to going to Costco and getting the big 24 packs. If you have access to that and you can get 2 24 packs, that's great. We're not by a Costco, so I'm limited to 2 dozen packages, which for Aaron and I really doesn't get us very far. We both eat a lot of eggs, and that would last us like 4 days. So what we do to supplement now is I get these packages of egg whites, and the dates on these are great. This is out in June, so these are, again, check the dates because freshness is always varying, but if you get some fresh, it's going to last a really long time. So with scrambles, I like to add, you know, like 2 full eggs for flavor, and then add this in so that you can get the protein content and the quantity of the size of the breakfast portion that you want. When you're buying liquid egg whites, make sure you look at the ingredients and it says 100% liquid egg whites, because there are some imposters out there that aren't really eggs. Maybe that's good for you if you're trying to avoid eggs, if you're egg intolerant, but if you can eat eggs, look for the real deal, check the ingredients. While we're on the topics of perishables, dairy is something that I do want to bring up. I do like to eat things like cottage cheese. I have butter for Aaron's pancakes, and the only thing we don't really buy is like cream or milk, things like that. What I love to have on hand for those recipes is canned coconut milk. I like them in the can because, again, I can store them. They don't need refrigeration space. I just put them in here, anywhere I have room, which right now is on the floor. A lot of our stuff as we're stocking up. But the canned coconut milk is great because the quantities are manageable to get in and out of the fridge as you use it. So try that out. I'm also going to share in another video all of my pantry goods, like canned goods that I use to help bring my recipes to the next level while you have limited ingredients that are fresh. Now, this is something that most of my cooking shows already incorporate, is canned goods, because for us, living with limited refrigerated items is not new to us. What's new to us is the duration between grocery shopping. So that's the purpose of this video. However, I do want to share some videos showing you exactly what pantry items I find critical to keep things exciting in the kitchen. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I also might show like an entire shopping haul that showcases what I'm going to use week 1 and then what's going to be those extra weeks. So write a comment below if this was helpful for you, or if there's something specific that you would like to see. I also want to start throwing out some extra like pantry focused recipes using even more canned goods than I already did in the past. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you like it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Bye. So these have been sitting outside for 2 hours. They're definitely fork tender and they're definitely done. And from what I see here, I'm really excited about this and I'm really happy about it. I love this thermal cooker.